What's goody? Hey, so it is finally over, man. The Jimmy Butler saga in Miami is finally over. What we have all been asking for this drama, for all of this stupidity, for these suspensions, for these guys going back to games, for these all of this whatever, the blah blah blah, the jabs back and forth, the he said she said, bro. We were all finally ready for it to be over with, and it is finally over with, man. As of tonight, Jimmy Butler has been traded to the Golden State Warriors for a package that is Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first round pick, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. Now, the first thing that I thought of when I saw this trade was, wow, I didn't think it was going to happen for one reason and one reason only. Because I remember seeing reports yesterday that were saying that like the talks were over between, or maybe not yesterday, but a few days ago, if not yesterday, that the talks between Jimmy Butler and, between the Heat and the Warriors were over with, that the two sides couldn't come to an agreement, that everything was done, that there was no way that deal was going to happen. So I'm thinking, okay, so I don't know who's going to take Jimmy Butler. I'm interested to see because I did think he was going to get moved. And for it to come out tonight that he did get traded to the Warriors, and this is something that's interesting, and I think the first thing that I want to talk about here is the Warriors side of this, because if you're the Warriors, right, this doesn't align with anything you've been saying. Kind of. If you didn't want to really go in on the right now timeline or whatever, blah blah blah, then you wouldn't have done this trade at all. But at the same time, it does kind of align with what you've been talking about, how the two timelines matching up, because this does buy you into Steph Curry's timeline without you really having to worry about the younger parts of your timeline, without you having to give up any of the young, poor pieces of your timeline. Because now that I think about it, when I was thinking about this, I was like, wow, this doesn't really line up with what they've been saying. But now that I think about it, I believe they were all saying that they believe that the two timelines together could still work, and that was still their goal. And when you trade for Jimmy Butler, my thought was that you were going to have to give up a Kuminga or a Wiggins. I was thinking it was going to be, you're going to have to, and if you don't have to give up a Kuminga, then you're going to have to give up maybe a Pods or a TJD or somebody, or Moody, somebody with with Wiggins, because I thought they would want a young player. So that's why I was like, no, you can't. Like, it's like that doesn't agree with anything they've been saying. Well, when you don't give up a young player, it agrees. This matches up. This makes sense because this is them going in on both timelines. And this is a trade that I personally believe definitively makes the Warriors a better team. Now, how much better is something that we'll be able to see. It's a conversation we can have a little bit later in this video, maybe a little bit later in future videos as well. But I do definitely believe that this makes them better, and the main reason for that is you can argue. People are talking about, oh, Wiggins is better than Jimmy Butler. I don't care about all that. You can argue about that all you want to. I don't really care. The ceiling of Jimmy Butler is higher than the ceiling of Andrew Wiggins. Now, biggest questions here. Will he be healthy? I don't know. But I think the biggest question here is, what is the locker room going to be like between I'm not really worried about Steph Curry. If Clay was here, I could be worried about him clashing with Clay and Clay's ego a little bit, but I'm not really worried about Steph Curry. We've seen Steph Curry be one of the most unselfish superstars of all time in NBA history, so we've seen that. I'm not worried about him. But what is it going to be like between him and Draymond? Now, him and Draymond are kind of like similar type of ways, which is part of the reason I think they could clash, but it's also part of the reason that I think it could work, especially with this happening at the deadline where it's a little less than half a season to go. I think for at least the rest of this season, I think a lot of what the Warriors are going to be trying to do is going to be chemistry based. So while I do think this does make the Warriors better, I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler comes in and the Warriors immediately just spark off a win streak. And that is because I do think there will be some type of chemistry adjustment between, Butler and everything like that, because Butler's going to demand the ball probably a little bit more than Wiggins. Now, the good thing about it is that Steph Curry's can play off the ball more than any other guard superstar in league history. So that's the good thing about it. Like, Wiggins was doing a whole lot of dribbling, had a pretty high usage rate in the offense already. And another thing is Draymond's going to also take up a massive, massive role there. Pods is going to take up a role in the few minutes that he's playing, which is not a lot actually this season, so I don't even know really why I brought him up. But it's like you didn't have to give up Buddy Hield, who, while he hasn't been great at all in the last few months, you know what his ceiling is, you know what he can give you, you never know if he can get hot for a play-in game or a playoff series or anything like that. You didn't have to give up a Kuminga, you didn't have to give up a Moody, you didn't have to give up a Paz, you didn't have to give up a Trace Jackson Davis, like you didn't have to give up even a Gary Payton, who's a locker room guy that you guys love. You didn't have to give up anything crazy. So if I'm a Warriors fan, I love this trade because whether it works out or not, whether this ends up being a championship team or not, which I don't believe it is still, but whether it ends up being that or not, The complaint that I had about the Warriors was the fact that they were seemingly okay with letting the rest of Stephen Curry's Warriors career be, hey, we're going to be mediocre, we're going to be ass, but we still have Steph Curry, and that's what's going to sell us tickets, so we're still going to make money. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a Kobe-type career. I thought it was going to be a Dirk-type career end, a Kobe-type career end, something like that. This at least shows me, hey, if I'm a Warriors fan, I can think in my head, okay, at least they tried. I don't care if y'all are a first-round exit this year. I don't care if y'all stay the 11th seed this year. At least the front office tried. If you're a Warriors fan, you can't ask for anything more than this. The market was what the market was. The Luka Doncic trade shook everything up, but if we're being realistic, this was probably the Warriors we're going to get. So I'm not mad at this if I'm a Warriors fan. Now, on the other side, if I'm a Heat fan, I'm upset because you did all that woofing about Jimmy Butler being you blah 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 blah. You weren't going to trade him, then you were going to trade him, then he became a locker room cancer. You did all that woofing about this, that, and the third. And now you traded him, which is fine. I'm not mad at you. I think you needed to trade him. I think the locker room would become a problem at that point. You didn't get nothing good in return. Even you get one first-round pick, and the pick that you did get, guess what? It's protected. Now, I don't think we know the protections on it yet. I don't believe that that's come out. But whether the protection is or not, it means that it could end up that the chances are there is a good chance that it's not going to end up being a whatchamacallit. It's not going to end up being a first pick. There's a chance. There's a chance that turns into 2 seconds. That's not great. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a Heat fan, I'm not happy about that. And then it's like you get Wiggins, who's a guy that can come play there. Maybe he can be okay. Maybe he can't be. We got to remember that his only years where the 1 year where he was really good was with the Warriors, and the only other years where he was really, really like okay, really had a pretty good role in the team was also with the Warriors, and even some of that was down years. So I don't think we got to keep our, you know what I'm saying? We got to kind of look at Andrew Wiggins with a grain of salt and be like, okay, what he was with the Warrior system, can he be that in Miami? Can he be that in other places in the league? So I don't think we really know what the Heat can expect from Andrew Wiggins quite yet. But yeah, man, it's going to be really, really interesting. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that literally immediately after getting signed, immediately after getting traded, like before the dude was probably even on the plane to San Francisco, before Steph Curry probably had even texted him, Jimmy Butler signed a 2-year, $121 million extension with the Warriors through 2026, 2027. So the Warriors are saying, not only will we give you guys this year, but Jimmy Butler, we want to re-sign you. So that way you guys can not only build chemistry through the rest of the season this year, but that way you guys get the offseason, you guys get another year after that, you guys get another year after that, so that way you guys can build, that way we can see what we can really milk this thing for as much potential and as much as they can really get for it. I love that if I'm a Warriors fan. For Jimmy Butler, you basically just got everything you wanted. You got out of Miami, you got your bag, you're still on a contending team, you get to play with Steph Curry now. Hopefully things go well with you. But Jimmy Butler, let me tell you, if you ruin this situation, if you become a locker room cancer in Golden State, I can't defend you anymore, buddy. And I don't think anybody will be able to defend you anymore. A lot of people are already jumping off the bandwagon the more and more that Miami situation went down. Like, I think the more and more that Miami situation crept on, I think the worse it looked for you. But then you're out now, you're done, whatever. But now you can't do that again, because it's going to tarnish your reputation, and I don't want to see that happen because you are such an underrated player all time. Anyways, man, let me know what y'all thinking about this trade. Hey, man, I literally just dropped a video about how crazy the trade market is and how crazy everything was going on, how crazy all the trades were that were happening, and then Jimmy Butler trade drops 3-4 hours later. So 2 videos in a night for y'all, I guess. All right, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, peace.